John, first things first, happy birthday.
Thank you very much, yes. It's not something I celebrate as a rule. Never have done, even when I was a kid. So
Really?
yeah, another day. The best celebration is getting a win, isn't it? So we won after Jimmy's birthday, so let's hope, or before Jimmy's birthday, so let's hope that we can keep it going.
Yeah, what news have you from that dressing room with the number of knocks and bumps and longer term injuries that you've got, John?
Yeah, I mean, Toby's in today, arm in a sling, obviously. Seb had a successful operation yesterday, which is good. Sean goes to St George's Park next week, so he's well on the way. Couple of bumps and bruises. Coley's got to go and see a specialist. Liam Isherwood has seen a specialist, and I think he's on the road to recovery, I think. And then it's just hold your breath and just pray that we don't get any more. Seamus, we'll just have to wait and see with Seamus. It'll be folly to rush him back. So we've got to make sure he's 100% before he starts playing again. So, it's not ideal, but, you saw the other night, the lads who can come in can do a job. So hopefully it gives them an opportunity.
Is Tommy Lee likely to be available?
We'll have to see the next couple of days whether he comes through training okay. Difficult one really, because you can't take any chances with calf injuries. So, it's one that you might feel as though it's all right, and then all of a sudden you feel as though you've been shot. So we'll see how that goes.
Just in terms of what you saw the other night, plenty of goals, and there must be a real confidence boost for a few lads in that team who played well.
Yeah, we have to take the positives out of it. I was blazing for 10 minutes in the second half, and it'd be easy to just focus on that. But if you focus on the game in general, we played some really good football, passed the ball well. Must say their pitch was fantastic as well. And we passed the ball well, made chances, and took chances, and hopefully we can carry that on to Saturday.
To have Cody Adedoyin getting 3, you see him every day. I'm told that when you do see him every day, that the talent that he's got is there for everyone to see. Is it about getting it on the pitch as much as you can?
It is, and again, he hasn't played a lot of football, Cody, so you tend to forget that. As I said after the game, he's not a bad lad, Cody. Don't think for 1 minute he's disruptive in the dressing room. He's not. It's just that he has a tendency to switch off, as a lot of young lads do. And sometimes you have to accept that with attacking players and just try and make them better at focusing on the other side of the game.
Sounds like a good case study. How do you get these lads who have a tendency to switch off less?
Just keep talking to them, keep showing them things, keep trying to educate them. The ones who go all the way very quickly, so the likes of your Jude Bellinghams, they'll have latched onto that quite quickly. So some are better at learning than others. Some are better at executing it. And that's why you've got levels of footballers, haven't you? And we've got lads who are aspiring to be better, and it's our duty to try and make them better. As when we're custodians of them for however long the contract is, we've got to try and improve them. And I'd like to think if they do leave us as a better person as well as a better player, and that's what you're trying to do.
Just having a look, John, there's 4 lads who featured in every one of your League 2 games this season. 2 of them have started, all of them, Josh Andrews and Brad Hills. For the age they're at and the experience they've got, that's a good start for them, isn't it, to be getting game after game after game?
It is, and then you govern by injuries, and unfortunately, the way the game's going, I think there's a valid call to increase the threshold of the suspensions because of how prevalent bookings are these days in football. So, but yeah, they've done smashing, and they're still learning, and there's still points that we have to keep showing them that they can get better. And we don't want to be overly critical, but critique can be a good thing if it's done right. And there's areas that they still do switch off on that. They've got to maintain that for the 90 whatever minutes they play, 98, 99.
It's had a good start, Josh, in front of goal. Is there a target as a former striker that you would set for him to look to make this year?
I think you'd have to set personal targets. You know, somebody else sets the target. It's not really a target for me. You know, you have to set your own targets. They've got, you know, well, you go through that smart thing, don't you? Manageable, all that realistic stuff. You know, and achievable, all that, all the above. But if you set yourself something that maybe is a little bit higher than what you feel you can get, it gives you something to strive for. And when you get into a rhythm of scoring goals, it's uncanny really. The ball just goes in the net for you, and then when you're on a drought, nothing you do. It's really, really, really weird as a striker. You don't do anything different, but all of a sudden the ball goes in, or all of a sudden it doesn't. And so, yeah, but we'll keep working on Josh and trying to get him more hungry for goals. Yeah.
Double figures would be very realistic, wouldn't it?
He's not a goalie, is he? Oh yeah, double figures, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be disappointed if he didn't get double figures as a striker, wouldn't
You certainly would. You would have been, wouldn't you?
you? Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
You mentioned the bookings there, John. I think you got 3 or 4 that are probably going into this weekend on 4. Do you have to have a word at this point to say try not to, or in the heat of the game? How
it's difficult.
But
what you've got to do is you've got to eliminate the silly ones. So the descent, the kicking the ball away, the stopping the restart. You know, the time wasting ones. The avoidable ones. They're the ones that stick in your throat. So I've got to eradicate them.
Time wasting is an interesting subject at the moment as well, isn't it? We're seeing players booked for taking 15, 20 seconds on taking a free kick.
It's mad, isn't it? It's just, I think it's because you get wrapped up in the game, but I always feel we get punished a lot for time wasting when we don't really time waste. So it's strange. It's probably your own perception of it.
That threshold you talk about, do you think 5 is now just not realistic in terms of the punishment to miss a game for picking up 5 yellows?
Yeah, I think the way the nature of the game is, and the fact that, you know, there's lots more bookings already this season at this stage, I think they should adjust the threshold accordingly. And, you know, if you're a wholehearted defender, it's very, very difficult. You know, you'd have players in the past who played 600 games without getting booked. That's virtually impossible. I don't mind players getting booked if you can see that the wholehearted time to win a ball, or it's when they do silly trips or share pulls or time wasting, descent, throwing the ball away, slamming the ball down. They're the ones that really annoy you because it can come back to bite you. We've already been bitten this season.
Would it be a better scenario for you in terms of 5 yellows?
Well,
do you think it'd be better being 10 or what?
I think what they should do is I think if they put it up to 10 and made it more severe, then, you know, I think that'd be realistic. Or if they want to keep it as the same parameters, I think it should be put up to 7. And give them a chance to get through the initial stage before they get wiped.
It's an interesting point. It's not been changed for a long time, that rule, has it?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't, son. Football's changing. Certainly, the decision-making process is very much changing. So,
it's for the better or worse?
For me, the worse, obviously, because of what I've seen over the last few years. But what you got to realise is it's different for the Premier League. You know, they're awash with money. But we've got lads who they get suspended and they don't get an appearance money, and they might be relying on that appearance money. You know, we're not on great wages. You know, and some of our lads that they can only accept the wage that they get as long as they're playing. So, you know, it can do a bit of damage to someone who's got a young family who all of a sudden, you know, he's had 3 bookings that weren't bookings, and then another 2 justifies him getting a ban, and he gets banned, and then, he racks up another one and misses another 2 games, so he misses 3 appearances, which, you know, people might think I'm being a bit churlish there, but I'm not. You know, that can affect people's livelihoods.
We're over a quarter of the way through the league season already, which is remarkable in itself, John. What's your take on League 2 now that you've had 12 games to look at it?
Everything I expected it to be. Tough, good players, physical, organised teams, experienced managers to a certain degree. And you'd always think that there's always a chance for some teams to make a charge for the playoffs, and you've just got to rack up as many wins as you can as early as you can to put yourself in that position. So you're fighting at one end rather than fighting to stay up.
Is there a marked difference from what you're seeing from what you saw in League 1 last year in terms of quality, in terms of what you see on the pitch?
I think the quality of strikers is far better than League 1. So the mistakes that you make get punished. But there's still very, very good strikers in this league. And it's mad really, because we came out of a very unequal league last year as regards to finances, and we've dropped into another one that's very unequal. You know, if you look at the haves and the have-nots, the gap it's a chasm, isn't it? And that was the same in League 1, so I think League 2 is very much mirrored in League 1 from last year, unfortunately for us.
And yourselves, I think Morecambe always sort of suggest they're in and around the same sort of financial area as you. You're about a point apart in the table right now, in the top half of it, John. Do you see that as overachieving when you look at the haves and the have-nots?
Without a doubt, you know, I think Morecambe are pretty much like ourselves, a good indicator of how clubs should be run. And, you know, Derek's done well there, and he's got our secret weapon, and he's yet. So.
Grimsby to come. A reunion with someone you know well, Harvey Rogers, this weekend. Did a good job for you, didn't he?
Yeah, great lad, Harvey. Very, very laid back. Got an eye for goal, which we'll have to be wary of. And I also got on really well with their manager. You know, so you know, I've been on courses with him in the past, so he's astute, and he's good at his job.
Is he a good example of someone who's done really well in lower league management, got one opportunity to go up the ladder and unfortunately didn't get the time he needed to get his ideas across?
Yeah, you know, some of his sons are still playing. So, you know, and I'm contributing a lot to Ipswich, so yeah, he's just a really, really good footballing guy. So.
Not having the best of times at the moment in terms of results. What do you make of Grimsby?
I think, I know you're saying we're a quarter of the way through, but it's very still early days, isn't it? You know, and I think once you've got eyes on every team in the league, that's when you can start judging. You know, and certainly I'm in no position to judge people at the moment. So
early days, goes after about 23.
I'd say once you get towards Christmas, you're bedded into the league, you know where your pecking order is, don't you?
You quite happy with the way things are panning out right now?
I think if you start getting happy as a manager, you're on a slippery slope.
That's the wrong word for you, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've got this perception I'm glum. No, I think you can't get content. You've always got to be striving for better. And it's really difficult because you're managing and you're trying to lead a group of people that you know, that they know, that you're trying to replace them with someone better. But you've got to be evolving. And you've got to evolve your techniques, you've got to evolve your thought process. And you've got to adapt. And, you know, thankfully we've been doing that long. Adaptation seems to be par for the course for us. You know, myself, Jimmy and John. We do seem able to adapt, and long may it continue.
Does perception bother you?
If it did, it would have well not bothered me for a long time because of how long I've been doing it. Sometimes it annoys me that we get perceived we don't get the credit for the amount of hours we put in, the amount of thought process that goes in, the amount of intelligence that's in our coaching staff. You know, that annoys me sometimes. That I see coaches getting lauded all up and down the country. I know I've got two of the best in Jimmy and John Doolan. And because I witness them every day. I witness how much effort they put in, how much they analyse the game. Then we had Andy Dibble into it as well, who's very, very good at his job, very calm, very insightful, and can back it up with how many games he's played at the top flight. So I don't think our coaching staff get enough credit or are perceived as well as what they should be.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because we've still got this image of a rough and ready Accrington who's fought and scrapped our way to everything. Yeah, we have done that as well, but we've also played some unbelievable football over the years. We've had some unbelievable players come through us and gone on to better things. And I don't think there'll be a club in the Northwest who's sold as many players upwards as what we have over the last 5 years. That seems to get forgotten. So, you know, I don't think you could get a better staff in the Northwest than what we've got here.
Think it's an age thing? We're talking about
Possibly.
birthdays. Is it something as simple as that?
Could well be. You know, we're not averse to embracing new ideas. You know, we've all been through the diploma, that me, John and Jimmy, football management. We're always trying to learn. You know, I'm on another course at the moment, ironically with Paul. And we're just trying to be better at what we do. And sometimes you can't change people's perception. You've got to be comfortable in your own skin. Or I've got to be comfortable in my own skin anyway. And, you know, I know what we do. I know there's areas that we can improve on. And we're always trying to improve.
People have said so many times that you are a different manager than you were 10 years ago. You're a lot calmer. You take a step back a little bit more than perhaps you did 10 years ago. John, is that a fair comment? And are you doing that more now than you've ever done?
I'm getting confused with Danny's 2.0 model. I think as you get older, you get wiser. And certainly, you know, I've made no secret of the fact that I went through some struggles when I was out of work, and, you know, it affected me badly. And I had to do a lot of work myself to alter my way of thinking. I think it's definitely been for the better. I think I'm healthier. I've got a healthier mind. And I think that's helped us going forward and how we deal with things. What you've got to realise is that, you know, if you're managing a club who, you know, we've got unbelievable fans who are fantastic, but we can't compete with the 15,000 who are coming through the gates of other teams. So you're always going to be having to deal with adversity. And sometimes you get a bit used to it, and so you deal with it better. But you have to train your mind as well, and you have to come up with strategies to get your thinking process clearer. And I think, I know I've done that because I've been through a lot of work on that. And it certainly makes you feel better about yourself.